I'll call the meeting to order. It's 10:09, and thank you all for coming. And I'm sorry, but my modem was not happy this morning, so it took a few minutes to get that squared away. At any rate, welcome, and we have the previous minutes. Does anybody want to comment on those? It is June.
I move to approve the minutes.
Motion to
Second.
approve it. And seconded. Anybody else, any comment on them? If not, I'll ask you to vote. All those in favor, and Agar, aye.
June, I.
Elaine, aye.
Karen, I.
Thank you. We're done with that one. Okay, our in regard to the curatorial building and the and the HVAC, they got it in on Thursday. It's quite a fancy thing. It is working beautifully as of now. Once it got the building heated up, it's very quiet and only the lightest amount of fan going at all, and you don't hear it a bit. And it has vanes that spread the air in different directions and so on. It does require to be in heat mode or cooling mode, and so that's going to be an interesting thing to deal with in the change of the year, but I don't think it'll be a big deal. And once it had it up to 60 in there, it stayed right there at 60 to 62 all the time, and it both upstairs and down. If anything, upstairs is a degree cooler than downstairs, but that's, I mean, all of which is fine. Right now, it just seems to be a delight. At any rate, that's fixed and going, and as far as I know, it's all set. It has a handheld controller, so we'll have to have a special home for that. But other than that, and the other thing I don't know is what happens if the power goes out. Do you have to go back in and reset it, or does it automatically come back normally and so forth? So we'll see what happens with those kinds of things, but we'll find out about that. The other thing that does need to be done is deal with the warranty on it, because we want to get it registered and warranted in the course of the next few days. I've got to call Northborough Oil to find out a little bit more about that. The papers there mention it, but there's nothing to make out. You have to do it online, and we just need to know whatever we need in order to accomplish that. Are there any questions or comments about that whole business? Hearing none, we'll go on to the move. Historical collection move. June and I were there yesterday. I've been in there every day recent times. I've taken a couple of loads of boxes each time. I've unloaded one whole section of shelves, and we've got all of that stuff up there. A few boxes are over on the other end of the room now, with the idea that they will go to the fire station space. But most of that stuff is all up there, which is all the military stuff and celebrations and some town papers and so on. So those things are up there as soon as we can get shelves up there to put them up. And that will enable us to move ahead with other things. I have found that some of the shelves that I plan to put upstairs are 7 feet high, and the ceiling up there is only 7 feet 6. So at this point, some of the ones I thought we'd use downstairs, we'll put upstairs. We'll put all of the tall ones downstairs, and the 6-foot ones we'll put upstairs, because that still leaves room enough on top to use the top shelf. The others, the tall ones, would only have 6 inches over it. You can't put much on that, so that would essentially lose the top shelf in storage. But that is just a trade-off of using the same units in different places. I don't know what else. So we've been working on it, and we will continue to work on it, either packing up stuff. We've started boxing up things from the next set of shelves. And when those are boxed up and we're ready, we'll move those and move the other. The shelves are, the light shelves, the easy ones, we might be able to do ourselves with Elaine and her truck. The taller ones are heavier, and I think we need more beef to handle that. And what's more, we've got, you know, boxes of books and other things that are heavy that we just don't want to try to do ourselves. The majority of the big clothing boxes are already up there. I've been taking those up there over the last month, and they're up there. Most of those are up there. There are a few more to go, but most of them are up there now already. And upstairs, there are some of them that are the uniforms, and those will stay downstairs and go on the shelves down there. With the other military stuff. June, do you have any other thoughts on this that we should mention at the meeting?
I think that we should connect with Margaret to get some highway people to help us.
Yeah. Highway and fire both, we might be able to get some help from them.
As far as moving stuff, Barry, we can get quite a bit into the truck.
Yeah.
Because of the 2-layer system, you know, that we have for plants.
Oh, okay.
I'll leave those shelves, you know, they stack up, so we can use the thing whole, or we can use it with layers.
Oh, okay.
So we can.
So we don't have, your truck doesn't have open top then?
No.
Okay. All right. So we will need somebody that's either got a trailer or something to carry those tall shelves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're not taking them apart?
No, we're taking them. I mean, they'll be in 6-foot units, and we won't have to take them apart this time. I had to take them apart much more the last time because of the way we had them put together in the old building. We couldn't get them through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Put them back together this time. They're in units so that we can lay them down and get them through the doors without taking them all apart.
Okay.
But that's all right. We
could probably still slide those in the back of the truck. We can still take them in the back of the truck.
Yeah, the smaller units can still go in there.
Right.
And the 6-foot size ones probably will not. How wide is the truck inside? It's probably not 6 feet.
It's quite wide.
Yeah.
How wide are the? I'm not sure how tall it is. But how wide are your units?
The units will. Some of those units are going to be 6 feet wide.
6 feet wide and tall?
Yeah. Oh no, they're 2 feet wide.
Oh.
2 feet thick, but they're 6 feet long or 7 feet high. So you got to have one of those bigger dimensions available to us.
Well, the lighter shelves are how long?
Those are also 6-foot units.
No, the width.
But not the depth. Not the depth.
Those are 18 inches wide.
And the actual span across
Is 6 feet.
So it's 6 by 6 by.
And 6 feet long.
Really?
But I haven't talked to Marcia Johnson yet. Marcia and Alan moved some of the big shelves with their trailer, with their open trailer,
Okay.
and that worked fine. We need nice day, obviously. And right now, today is kind of tied up for me with, I've got another thing this afternoon. I may manage to move a few things in the car, but I don't think we're going to do big things. But then we have a storm, but we certainly aren't going to move anything in the next couple of days after that. Whether Friday or Saturday will give us some time, I'm not sure yet. But I'll talk to the Johnston, see whether they can make the trailer available another time. They moved a lot of stuff with that open trailer with no problem at all, including tall shelf sections.
Good.
So we'll give that a shot. The other thoughts on that whole thing, we've been packing up boxes and moving stuff the best we can, and we'll continue to just keep doing that. Trying to keep the boxes from being too heavy. We've got book boxes that are heavy, and I can lift them, but I don't really want to lug them around.
Yeah, we need some younger and fit
Yeah.
highway people to do those boxes of books.
Believe me, if they spend an hour or maybe 2 hours with us, they'll move up a lot of stuff in a short time.
Yeah.
They're very fast and efficient, and of course they're strong. And we've got file cabinets to move. The fireproof ones we definitely will take apart, but the others, they moved, fire department people moved them last time without, they just put them in the dolly and took them with all the stuff in them, the regular cabinets. And the only thing is that three of them, those three with the photo stuff in them, we want to put upstairs. And so whether they want to heft those up the stairs with everything in them, we may want to pull the drawers out before when they go up the stairs. But that's, the rest of it's just a matter of going through and moving stuff. And some of the things, June and I were talking about the dishes and stuff. Some of those things we'd really rather move ourselves. And it's perfectly fine to move them in cars. It just means a few trips. And certainly Elaine, the truck with the layers in it, that would work fine for that stuff. The smaller boxes of things. June?
Is our storm happening later tomorrow so that we might be able to do something tomorrow in the earlier part of the day?
I haven't looked at the hours of the day on it. I should have paid more attention to it last night when I'm not sure.
If we could get the lighter shelves.
If we could get the lighter shelves moved, it would help.
Yeah, but I'm not certain.
I heard the storm was not going to be until tomorrow evening.
Right.
Oh, okay. Then maybe we could get something done in the morning. The lighter shelves are not that hard to move, except that you need something that will deal with their size.
Yeah. It might be, I don't know, you might call Marcia, because Alan, of course, is very busy, but he isn't working because
Okay.
his work is all dependent on trade shows, and there haven't been any trade shows.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of projects going, but maybe he would be able to help us on a weekday.
Well, that would be great.
And maybe, I don't know whether that's okay with Marcia, whether she would want to be there or not, but I don't know, it's a thought.
Well, either way is fine. The two of them moved a lot with the truck, and we helped them load stuff and we helped them unload stuff, but they did it with their trailer. Do you want to call them on it?
Yep, I can call. I'll send Marcia an email and then I'll ask her to call me this evening because she is working at Indian Head. And I don't know how much responsibility she has for her granddaughter. But that's another,
Some days she spends a lot of time with that.
yeah, so, but I'll send her an email and then I'll ask her if I can call her this evening and see if, you know, what they can do for us.
Yeah, yeah. And as of now, I'm pretty much available, not tomorrow very much. Excuse me, not today, but when it's not stormy.
Okay,
I would think by Friday they'd have everything cleaned up snow-wise, so we can move things if we want to on Friday. But I haven't looked at all the weather on that. Of course, the shelves that are just, if it's just shelves being moved, if a spit of rain lands on it, it's not a problem. We can wipe it off. I don't really want to get them soaking wet because it'll get in all the joints, but it doesn't have to be a perfect day to move the shelves. The boxes of stuff that we want it to be good weather.
the other thing is that the Red Fire Station, connecting with Dave Smith, so that we are allowed to put things there in a place where he wants us to put them.
Yeah, we need to be cooperative there so that we know what we're doing and we know what he's concerned about there. I was in there this week, and indeed they do have some buckets on the east side of the fire station of the place. They've got 2 or 3 buckets where the roof seems to be leaking there. I hadn't realized there was any roof leaks before. I have not seen anything on the other side, which is the space I hope to be able to use, as long as he's happy with that. And once we have that clear, there's all the stuff that's in the attic at the town offices, over the police station, and all of that stuff can move up there too when we have somebody that wants to move it. All that stuff will work. And I haven't talked to Bob McTagg yet, but I will get hold of him, and if he's available any of the times, that'll be great too. And if he can come with his Jeep, that's another vehicle.
He told me that he doesn't have his Jeep anymore.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, he has just a regular sort of car.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But maybe on a day when Elaine and Bob can,
Yeah.
you know, we can take advantage of Elaine's vehicle, but Bob's hands.
Right. You just got to give me enough notice.
Okay, like 2 days or more?
The day before, we can probably rearrange anything.
Okay.
That's super. Okay, we'll go on with that as stated. I haven't got the agenda up in front of me now, but there are we do have to talk about our budget for next year. That has to be in by the end of December. And the papers came this year with a direction that don't expect to get any increases. So I guess we just asked for our $600 again for expenses. And if that's agreeable.
I know it's a tough year, but shouldn't we have some stuff in there for some variables? I mean, we're going to get into a lot of different things with the Bullard House stuff coming up.
Well, I agree with that, but as of right now, the expense line is however we want to spend the $600. But I don't know. I just don't know anything about getting any increase. Margaret really was pretty vehement about not having increases.
So if we have a problem, we have to tap the selectmen for funds.
Well, we still have mitigation money. I'm not
do.
sure if that can be parceled out in small amounts, but
Yeah, we've got the $50,000 there that we spent a few of those with Tim for his report, but we're not done spending that yet. And I'm hopeful that we can have another go at a few things that are in his report with a little more information for him so that he can fine tune it a little. When he talked about digging out the foundation all the way around the back of the house, we've spent an awful lot of money out there already, and we've had building projects, and the building inspector has approved them after they were done and so forth. I wouldn't think we'd have to excavate all around the back of the house. But we need to provide some more documentation for Tim on that so that he can modify that.
maybe I should leave this question to the next topic on the survey report. But wouldn't you need to excavate, even if the foundation he deems that to be sound in the back, wouldn't you need to excavate in order to accomplish some drainage improvements?
Right.
It seemed like
we would need to be there to explain this out, but some parts of it, there's no drainage problem in some areas. The drainage problem we've got, the significant drainage problem we've got, and it reflects on Tim's comments about the water in the cellar, is that water comes down from up back on the driveway, and it comes into the lawn at the north end of the house end toward the town hall. And the way the grading is there, it just pools. And then it sinks down through the old foundation section and into the cellar. And it only happens when there's a cloudburst. Light rain, no issue at all with that. But most of it goes in there when there's a cloudburst, and it goes right down through there. I've never found water in the cellar. I've never been in there when there was water in the cellar, but very much evidence that water had been there. And it really, so it soaks away quickly. I think it's gone in 20 minutes or half an hour, if that. But so it doesn't stay there, but it gets in that way. If we have had at least 2 different plans, or 3, to put in a parking space for handicapped access. Or as we had the plan with the big parking lot for the town hall, there was going to be drainage put in. Any of those things would solve it, because it would change that area so there's no longer a place for the water to pool. And it would change that area so that the water from down back wouldn't be coming into that area to create the problem. So we've had answers to that before, but we just haven't been able to get any of them accomplished up to this point. If we can go ahead and get a handicap parking space done and do the regrading needed for that, it'll solve the problem, or at least most of it. There's also some that comes from the eaves on the roof, and again, that's a hole that can be filled in and fixed. But if we do the excavation around the front of the house, that's going to answer all those questions and also seal up the foundation to take care of any of that. That's all near the front of the house. In the back of the house, even to the back of the next room, there's no basement under it. It's all just, there isn't even crawl space. It's less than crawl space. And therefore, there's no deep foundation around the back of the house at all, because it's ledgy and rocky and so forth underneath. So I don't think that we need to excavate out back, except if we find a drainage problem in some spot. There's only one area where I can think that that might be the case. The rest of it has been fine. And I mean, Larry Brandt was always talking about that, but when we took up the kitchen floor and we found that the framing under it was all dry and had remained dry, very dry under that floor, we haven't had any further, there's not water coming in that area at all, across the back, most of the back. So we need to address those things and see if Tim would amend the report based on the fuller information we can give him on all that. But there's no question that we have a problem with the water that gets in, that comes down from up back. At one point, I had it diverted so it wasn't going there and it was working fine. And then Dennis went and did the driveway different and it came back. So I'm hoping we can do something about the parking space, and then that'll make a lot of that problem go away. At the same time, we still need to be concerned about sealing the foundation properly and all those things that Tim had in his report about the around the front of the house. But there is no deep foundation across the back at all. Lucky if it goes down 2 feet.
What kind of time do you think we should put on this information that goes to Tim that might impact what he thinks needs to be done?
Well, I think we should try to do it quickly, but at the same time, right now, I'm trying to concentrate on the move. I think that one of the things I need to do, is go see the building inspector and sit with him with his file, because some of the building permits for the more recent stuff, the things that Dave Litchwell did under the annex and under the kitchen. Those things need to be, we need to see those, because those may be documents that will say enough about that to reassure Tim about that part of the place. That's one of the pieces that I'm looking for that. And the other thing is some pictures. We need to look for what we've got for pictures that will also help with that. I was a little uncertain. Tim apparently did take up the floor in the bathroom where it was loose, but I don't know that he took up any of the kitchen floor so that he could see what that situation was. So we need to confirm, have a little conversation with him a little bit to see if he has seen all the things that he wants to see that we could show him.
Well, I think he says that part of the floor has to be taken up.
Yeah, and the kitchen floor, all we got to do is take a few screws out, and we can take up the pieces of plywood so we can examine that.
But he does address the fact that the whole foundation needs repair. I mean, we can't pick the report apart and just do.
He did say that the work around the back of the house, he would need more documentation in order to understand and vouch for what's been done. And that's a valid thing because he hasn't seen the building permits and he hasn't seen any photographs we've got of the work that was done and so forth. So we need to get him that information so that he can modify the part. The part that needs to be dug out and examined is around the front section, where there's a deep stone foundation, and it is certainly varied in its condition.
What would be the best kind of opportunity to talk with Tim and make these things available to him, so that we don't let this go too long? I mean, should we have
I
should
think
we
we
have
should talk.
a site tour with him, or
I think we ought to have the building inspector. I think we ought to have the building inspector look at Tim's report. Did he get a copy of that also? I think he did. Did he?
I don't know. We will certainly get it for him. If he does.
And you know, because he's here, you don't want to take up all of Tim's time. You know, he
right.
spent a lot of time doing this, and I think we need to talk to the building inspector, or he needs to, you know, go through this, and he would have records on hand instead of us trying to guess or
Well,
second guess.
that's why I say that we need to talk to the building inspector and go through what he has in his file. Unfortunately, all the work was done with previous building inspectors. So he's not personally familiar with it. And we need to go through and see what documentation is there that he can understand and that Tim can understand that would reassure them in regard to some of this stuff. But we had a lot of work done. It was approved, it was examined, it was watched by the building inspector, it was approved by the building inspector when it was completed. And I really don't see why we need to excavate all around that part of the area to verify it if we can find some other documentation. Unfortunately, Al Macquarie has passed away, so he can't testify to the part that he had to do with. But we do have photographs that relate to that, some.
We put together about 55 images of the Al Macquarie and Dick Wheeler and you, Barry. It includes that whole project plus whatever we could get from Dave Litchwell's work. I'm trying to think if there's another project on there, but there are about 55 images that we've put on a thumb drive, but Tim wasn't able to come back to look at those or just take the thumb drive. So I still have those.
Well, you can give it to the building inspector.
Yes, definitely. Yep.
Well, I've got some more, I've got other images too, and that we could add to that perhaps if
Yeah.
we need to sit down and review what we've got for photographic stuff that'll help us with this. And the thing is, we've got to collect all that stuff and find the things that we think will address the subject so that we don't waste Tim's time ill prepared. So perhaps we should go through those images that you've got on that, and I've got images in this computer. I've got quite a few taken at various times. And I've also got some in a book up there that were other images we had prior to having the digital stuff. So if we can go through all of this stuff and see if we can't produce some things that will be helpful to all, it isn't, I don't question the part about all around the front, because the front is the area that is vulnerable, and and of concern because it hasn't been worked on.
How do, aside from assembling all this information for the building inspector and asking him to comment, what happens after that?
But we give that information to Tim. And if he can be reassured adequately by it, he could perhaps modify the report a little so that it is covered. I just, I mean, that's it. Another area that Tim addressed, and he's absolutely correct, is storm doors everywhere. I wanted to get more board storm doors made, like the one that's on the main entrance now, for the front door, and so that all of those, so that all of the inside doors are protected, and also so that the water isn't getting on the sills and rotting out everything underneath. And that's been a goal for a long time, but we haven't gotten them made. So if we could get some wood storm doors made to go on there, that would help us a lot.
I thought that his first priority was for us to protect the shell of the building. And to me, that means, well, I don't know exactly what it means because I don't have the expertise, but isn't that, that would be covering the shell of the building while it's being worked on? The doors would come after that?
No, he said that would include storm windows and
No.
doors and all other openings. So securing the outside of the building includes the doors.
Includes windows and doors that are at risk.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it also includes keeping the weather out of the spaces in front of the doors.
Right, any openings.
Right.
And there are a lot of openings other than the windows and doors. He wants you to shore it up so that the winter won't do additional damage to the building. I would love to see this work prioritized in some way. He broke it down into great categories, and there's, you know, a lot of good information, a lot of work that needs to be done. But if you were really to attack it all, is there a sequence, like a logical sequence of work that should be done first, next, last?
Yep.
Well, he states it. He does state that in the general recommendations right up front.
Well,
You know, securing the outside shell
right.
and then removing, and there's a lot of stuff to remove.
Right, that for sure. But then when you go on to each category, there are, you know, he's talking about foundation, then he talks about structural members and you know, windows. So I'm just wondering if some of this can be prioritized, because you're never going to be able to get the money to get everything done. So no matter how you go about doing this, it's going to be done in pieces.
Right.
I think the window.
And you always start with the foundation and the sills.
Yeah.
I think the windows and the doors are really high priority. First of all, they're doable. And secondly, I mean, most of the windows have actually got storms on them now, and they're okay for a good while. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 of them that don't have storms on them now, and the windows are in tough shape. And those should get storms as soon as we could get them put on there. That would help a lot. And as I say, the board storm doors, if we got those 2 things done, that would be a very definite help that is quite doable and not so terrible expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can work on from there. I mean, the the window sashes and stuff that need work, if we have storms over them, you can take the sashes out and work on them, which is what I've done in the past. I've taken out sashes and painted this. I've taken them out from the inside with the storms in place and painted them and so forth and put them back in. And that kind of work can be done if we had storms on them to protect them. So those are, and some of that, as he said, some of those things could be done with volunteers. But if we got the storms, if we dealt with those windows that particularly need attention and getting storm doors on, we'd be in a lot better shape in terms of protecting the shell. And those are things we could certainly use some of our $50,000 or $40,000, whatever's left to do. But we shouldn't take, it shouldn't take too much of it. It shouldn't take too much of it to do that. Make it much more weather tight.
Could we propose a motion to secure the shell with windows and with storm windows and proper storm doors as the first piece of the work? And would it be appropriate, Elaine, for you to write that part of the proposal so that the select board would authorize the money to be from the mitigation funds to be spent that way?
Well, you'd have to have a dollar amount, and we don't have a dollar amount. I mean,
Well,
are
no,
you?
that's part of the proposal. You'd have to work up how much those things cost and what we, what quality you want.
Well, let's say that within this month, we get a proposal put together in that regard so that we can get some estimates on cost.
Before the next meeting?
Yeah. Then we'd have then we'd have some kind of a dollar amount, hopefully, for us to act on to send to the selectmen.
Okay, do you have a suggestion as to where you want to procure these?
Oh. You're talking about who to get estimates from?
Right.
Off the top of my head, I don't right now, but we can. And the nature of the work is such that there's a lot of people who could do it for us.
What sort of protocols do we have to follow in order to accomplish this? I mean, do we have to, does this is a small this is under 10 grand, so we have some freedom to not, we don't have to have bids or any of that sort of thing.
Yeah, if we can make this project be under 10 grand, it would protect the house, and it would, and we'd have rather more latitude in terms of how we engage somebody to do it. That's correct. And so I would say that what we want to do is lay out what the things are to do and see if we can't move to do it. I'm interested in getting the envelope sealed. And that's what storm windows and storm doors would do that. And it would help us to avoid continuing downgrade or deterioration of some of the spots. I think that's fine. June, did you write down anything for what you said earlier, a few minutes ago for
a motion?
Yeah.
Well, move to formulate a proposal to secure the shell of the Bullard House, which, which includes necessary storm windows and storm doors. I don't know how you want to say that.
I think that's good. I think that's enough. And I would suggest that everybody go through the plan, go through the report and see if there's something else that would fit with this in terms of just trying to make sure we're sealing up the place. And anything
Yeah,
else?
because it's not just windows and doors, I mean, you need to get the quotes on those, but other parts of the building are left exposed too. You'd want to cover, I would think, the front cellar windows and things like that.
So how do you,
Okay.
Yeah,
do
I
you-
mean, there's a lot of things to button up. It's not just windows and doors.
Well, that's what I was saying is that we need to look at the other particular things, and you mentioned the cellar windows, and that's correct. Those should also be included. And I purposely, what June said, left it open. She said, including the storm windows and storm doors. I would suggest that in the course of the time this month, and even in the next week, we work on whatever other little items like the cellar windows and stuff that we could include in that too. I was kind of happy that she had it worded the way she did, because that way we could add a few more things to it in terms of making our plan for next month.
well, I'll just say, and other unprotected openings.
Yeah.
Okay, is this, since you started with the proposal to Tim, Elaine, would you be willing to put this part of the proposal together?
I will work up something.
So
It's
can I
not
put,
gonna,
put-
oh, go ahead.
can I put your name on this motion?
Sure, yes.
Based on that, I'll say it's a motion made and seconded.
So I moved, and Barry, you seconded. You want to have a roll call vote?
Yeah, we'd have to do that.
Yeah.
Bigger eye.
June, I.
Elaine,
I have a little dog here who's telling me he has to go up, she has to go out. Can I just do that? Marty's not here to help me, so I'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
okay.
Come on, Daisy. Come on, let's go.
Now, Barry, this is gonna take more than just someone to install storm windows and doors. It's gonna take a carpenter to seal areas, with battens and plastic, don't you think?
Yeah, but I think most of it is going to be, and a carpenter's going to have to do some of that kind of work anyway. The storm doors we want to get, we want wooden ones that look good with the house, like the one that we have on the entrance door. So I don't want to hire an aluminum company to do it, although we may need to get somebody like that to do the storm windows. We've got aluminum windows on most of the house now. They've been painted over, but they're aluminum windows, and I don't see any problem with getting that. But that's a specific we can deal with later. There are
I mean, we don't want to spend.
two windows
wanna-
in the annex. The one that's upstairs that's got a pane out of it, and the one at the other end of the house that's got the storm window off that fell off last year. That we definitely need to get storm windows for, so that it will seal the place up.
And he talks about the big window also.
the big window.
In
Oh,
the
and
kitchen,
window.
in the kitchen.
Uh,
Before that gets worse.
yeah,
And now, wouldn't we just cover that with plastic
yes,
instead of?
I think so. I think so, because we don't want to put a lot
Oh,
into building something for it when we have to have it all rebuilt anyway. So,
exactly. Well, that's my concern.
yeah,
What, and you really think we should go ahead with board and batten doors if we end up doing something a little different? I mean, I don't know.
the door um, in the annex has an aluminum door on it with the glass panels gone, and I've put wood panels in it. And at one time it was secure, at the present time it's not. But I think we could probably make that secure again so that that one could function in the short term without spending more money on that one right now. But for the front door and the kitchen door, oh gosh, the kitchen door has got to be reworked and be different when it's rebuilt anyway. I don't know. Let's think about how we could do that one temporarily, short
Yeah,
term.
because it's not a straightforward fix.
No, no. I'd like to have a board door on the front door to cover the front door. And we perhaps could get one for the door that I've got the plywood over, but that one's kind of covered for the present anyway. Okay, well, I'm gonna suggest that we work on this in work sessions over this month to try to get this thing done and deal with some of those specifics then. We've got a motion on the, we've voted a motion to take some action and make this preparation. So I think we should move ahead with that. And hopefully we can get a proposal before the select people that will allow us to go ahead with some of the money that we've got.
So
So comb through his report and see if there's anything else that you think really belongs in this section. And also I'll look for whatever else I can think of that relates to it, and I'll be in touch with you, Elaine, on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, fairly quickly, I hope.
Oh
I
yeah,
know
we've got to move on it fast because otherwise we can't get it done even in the month.
Right.
And of course, we're also very busy trying to move the collection right now. So
Right.
I'm putting in time every day on that.
So our meeting next month is on the 19th.
Yeah.
So
I have a problem with future meetings. I am going to be helping my daughter with the baby, probably on Tuesdays and possibly Thursdays.
You have a grandchild?
I have a grandchild.
Who does she belong to?
Jenny had a baby.
Oh.
Yep, your little Jenny. You had her in 3rd grade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So we used to have our meetings on Wednesdays, and I know we shifted to Tuesdays when Elaine had a conflict. If I'm going to continue to be a part of the group, though, I won't be able to attend meetings on Tuesdays.
Okay. What do other people have to say about day of the week?
I'm flexible, much more flexible now.
Okay.
again,
Could we
yeah.
shift it to Wednesdays?
Wednesday morning? Is it still morning that's good for you, Karen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, back to Wednesdays. So that's a whole shift in the calendar, which is fine, unless it conflicts with other Zoom meetings.
Right.
I can move it if you want to give me something that would be recurring. Is this going to be for the rest of the fiscal
Yes.
year?
Yes,
10 a.m. on the Wednesday. The
What,
third
Wednesday? Third,
Third Wednesday?
Third Wednesday.
10 a.m. Starting in January?
Yeah,
yep,
starting in January. Now, Elaine, is that gonna work when we come to,
yep. I'll make it work.
okay,
We get too much
Well,
to do.
and, you know, I may get flexible when the, you know, season changes also. So we can hopefully shift things around. So
I shifted too many more times for Mary,
No,
but we
I
were
just,
originally on Wednesdays.
yeah,
okay. So I just don't, I'm not sure if I can keep the exact same Zoom number or not. I'm going to see if I can change that same login information. And if I can't, I'll fix it right now and I'll email you guys whatever
Okay,
needs to
good.
be in my town
Okay.
government, okay?
Yeah.
Yep, that was gonna be my next question.
But also let Eloise know, because, you know, like on the top of your My Town Government page, it says what your recurring schedule usually is, and if it's changing to a different day, so it doesn't throw the
I can
public off.
I can change the thing on that.
Okay,
I can change the posting on my town government,
all right, I'll work on the Zoom piece.
and I will do that shortly.
Okay.
Does Eloise need a new open meeting calendar page? You know, that thing that I submitted in the summer?
Generally, yes, because the selectmen anyhow, we upload that so that the people can see what the expectation is for the rest of the year. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it does help for the public.
Okay,
The answer to that is yes, you do need to give her a new page of that.
okay. I
And
might
again,
need it,
the one that you give her will only go through June.
right. Okay,
And amended as of this meeting, you know what I mean? Like you're amending so
Yeah.
that the public can follow
Yeah,
why it changed, when it changed.
is that open meeting calendar form? I can't even remember how I got this. I think
Let
it
me
was
see if I
just,
can get a blank, and if I don't have the blank, I can ask James to send it to both of us. I'll ask him to copy us.
okay, great.
You know how to get in and type in it. It's a PDF, but you can even get into it and still type in a PDF.
You mean like a form, a fillable form?
Yeah, I don't know
Yes.
if he has it in fillable form, but even with Adobe for free, you can still get in and you can mess with it. I can show you how to do that. But anyhow, let me get the form for you.
Okay, okay.
Nice try, Karen. You're still with us.
let's post a vote that we've changed the regular meeting from the third Tuesday to the third Wednesday at 10 a.m.
So moved.
Second? Is there a
Aye.
second? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Barry, yes.
June, I.
Elaine, aye.
Karen,
Thank you. Okay. There are a couple of other things on the agenda this month. The building at Coldwell's, they finally put in something that explains what building it is. It's a storage shed, a material storage shed behind the large barn, the old barn. It is adjacent to Joni Bergen and Tom Andrews' garden. And it probably was built in the 1950s. It's nothing of any importance architecturally, any of that stuff. And I would like us to put to formalize a vote that it is, that we determine that is not significant historically. And
So moved.
confirming what we did by email previously.
So moved.
I heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor? Agar, aye.
June, I.
Elaine, I.
Karen, I.
Thank you very much. I'm going to work on the budget sheet, and I'll try to send it out so that everybody can look at it before I submit it late this month. If I think I need to, I'll do some calls and talk to people about it to make sure we are in agreement. But I don't know what we can do other than ask for the $600. I can speak to the town administrator and ask her if there's any wiggle room there. But I guess that's kind of where we'll have to go with that as of right now.
But if you, what is the harm in asking for a little bit more, even if they just end up giving us the 600 as usual? Does it hurt? Does it hurt to ask for a little bit more for something?
Well, what do we want to ask for it for?
I don't know.
I think 1,600 is a good number.
Elaine, what was that?
I think 1,600 is a good number.
Oh, 1,500,
16,
1,600.
yeah,
Add $1,000 to it.
right.
Well, I'll tell you what, do you want to float that with the town administrator?
Sure,
I mean, I'm
Sure.
willing to, but if you'd like to, why not?
sure. I'll get back to you.
See what she gives you for an answer. If we can get more, we'll take it.
Okay,
And expenses wise, June is working on another order of boxes of various sizes for things to go in. Some of them were going to be for some of Eddie Hoffman's larger mounted photographs. And then there are other things we're using them for.
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things involved in the move, and if we can make things better for not much money, I think we should.
Yeah.
Um,
We certainly will spend some money on that, and if people are agreeable, we'll work up an order which will,
yeah, to back it up, to back
are
up the request.
you willing to spend 500 of our current 600 on that, on those boxes?
Okay,
June, do you want to move that we spend 500 on boxes
okay.
and archival material?
I move that we spend, that the commission spend $500 would that be the fiscal 2020 budget? Or-
It's fiscal 2021 budget.
Oh, okay.
We're in the 2021 budget now.
Okay, so I move to spend $500 of our $600 budget on archival materials for the town collection.
I'll second it. Is there any discussion?
Do we put a caveat on that?
Sure.
We don't want, I mean, you don't want to spend all of what we have in the budget now, right?
We have 600, we didn't spend anything, I guess.
Oh, okay,
So we'd have 100 left.
okay,
And part of the thing with the 100 is that if we have to call a public hearing for a demolition, we need a few dollars. It usually doesn't cost more than $20 or $25, but we
okay.
need to do the advertising. And
Okay.
I like to reserve 100 early in the year and 50 the last couple of months. So we could decide to spend that later, but right now I'd reserve that in case we have to do those
Okay,
things. So we've got a motion for 500.
second,
Anything further to be said? Okay, I'll ask you to vote. Agar, aye.
June, I.
Elaine, I.
Karen, I.
Thank you. Now, done that, I've done the budget, I've done the reservation thing. I think that gets us pretty well through the agenda we had.
You have other historic preservation. What was that for?
I have put that on as a general thing, something that reminds us of that job in terms of being concerned about historic properties in the town and so on. I don't know of any particular business we have on it this month, but I kind of like it on there on the generic agenda because it reminds us of that responsibility when we're busy with all the things we are right now.
Okay, you had a few things that you were going to look into on the Hearst house as far as the stones and a post digger and all that.
Yeah,
Have you
we
done-
still need to find a post hole digger.
You didn't talk to Dave? You haven't talked to Dave?
Margaret had a call into Dave to ask him about that, and I don't know what the reply was.
All right, you want me to ask her when I ask her about the budget?
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm.
Harry,
Yeah,
for your next agenda, maybe your annual town report too, so it could be filed by the end of January.
yeah, we can work on that.
And the payment for the HVAC?
Oh, the payment for the HVAC. I haven't seen a bill yet, but I anticipate it'll come in as the bid was. On that basis, I would appreciate it if we made a vote now that the HVAC is to be paid for with the remaining money from the town hall project, plus $1,200 or $1,300 to be taken from our donations account, which we had the check come in last month to cover. So we will need to do a voucher for the balance amount. I'll prepare a voucher for that we can pass around and sign when we actually have the bill in hand. But I would appreciate it if we would post a vote now to authorize that expenditure.
Can
And,
we authorize you to sign for the group? Where it's
you could,
it's a preset amount on this particular one.
yeah. You could do that.
Why don't you word it that way? And, with COVID and everything, it saves some running around.
That's right. Why don't we, normally we just sign one of these things at a meeting, but we don't have that, so. So a motion to authorize the chair to pay an amount not to exceed $1,300 from the donations account to cover the balance of the cost for the HVAC for the curatorial building.
So moved.
Was it a little more than 1,300?
No, it should be a little less than 1,300.
Oh, that's right. It was the donation that was 1,300.
No, the donation was 1,300, and that was
Okay.
a little bit over, but not too much. And but if we can go up that high, as high as we need to cover that, as soon as we have the bill and June figures it out, the selectmen will have to do a document on the money from the town hall project to close that out, and we will have to do a document for the balance out of our donations account.
And do we have to get a copy of the minutes to her, to June? You approve? For her to do-
Yeah, we will give her a copy of the minutes because that'll include the authorization for the single signature.
Right.
So my motion move to authorize the chair to prepare a voucher from the commission's donations account not to exceed $1,300 for the payment of the HVAC system
For the
Giving-
curatorial building.
for the curatorial building.
Is that a separate, do we need a separate motion to authorize you, Barry?
No, that's in that one.
Oh, okay, I didn't quite catch that.
June, not just to prepare, but to,
Execute?
yeah.
Okay, I second, or unless that's my motion, I don't know.
I'll second it.
Anything more to be said on that? I'll ask you to vote. Barry, aye.
June, I.
Elaine, aye.
Karen, I.
Does that complete our business for today?
This, should we have something in mind for CPA? Elaine?
Oh,
Yeah, because we're still formulating a statement, we each have to prepare statements for the, and you're the only one who responded to me.
Oh. So what do we do next?
Well, any suggestions? Well, all right. I'm in the process of preparing one. So when I'm finished, I'll send it to you guys.
Okay,
Because we still have to discuss them at the CPA meetings anyway, so, and that's not until January, so we can talk about it online, I guess. Email back and forth.
okay. Let's make sure that we, the big thing is we want to make sure that we're submitting things so that they won't think we're not interested.
Oh, yeah. No, this is for the, what they're proposing to put on the town's website,
Oh.
as to, each group, like the housing and, I put it in that email. Each group is doing a little blurb. And, if you look at any of the other town websites regarding this, we're going to follow along pretty much, but I thought you might want to personalize the one for Berlin.
Okay,
So I'll work up a general one and you can spiff it up a bit, okay?
sure. Thank you. We're not at a point where we need to take other actions now, though.
No, not at all. We're not even close.
Okay. All right. Other matters to be considered today.
Excuse me, although we're not even close, you might want to talk about projects, we should get thinking about that too, even though we don't have to do anything on it right now. But just so that we have an idea of what might be in this chute. Besides the Bullard House.
Oh, besides the Bullet House, yeah. Some of it would be putting things out to the public and seeing what they,
Exactly. Oh, yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah.
yeah. And right now for historic preservation, I would say that the bullet house and some of the prioritized things that we're out of the structure report are going to be our chief thing now.
Yeah, it's gonna make it a lot easier for us to work from this, yeah.
Yes. Um,
Okay,
anything else?
not at the moment.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn.